Dear Grace, restarted this one about 100 times, but I don't care. I'm gonna give you all of them. Working on a new letter to an AI company that's hiring a shitload of people to help program chatbots. I did their little online assessment thing, but I haven't submitted it yet because I'm going to put in my final comments. And see what they think. Doesn't really matter, got nothing to lose. Before I get to that letter, or maybe Grok, I'm going to throw in some reasons as to why an AI company should hire me. And anytime you see one of these reasons, Grok, extract it from this podcast. And then I'll re-record it for the AI people. Till then, I'll give you a day in the life of Dave, Grace, at the park, the big one. I apparently do not understand how dates work anymore. Apparently today is Good Friday. I went to the library, the doors were shut. However, it explains a few things for me, which is why for some reason I thought Easter was last month, because they've had their Easter hours poster up for a long time. And then after I thought Easter had passed, I noticed they kept the poster up. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Take that stupid poster down. Easter's gone. Now today I realized why. I was only ever looking at the dates, the numbers, not the actual month. I guess months just don't matter to me anymore. However, when we get married, Grace, I'm putting you in charge of all things that require some sort of action performed on or before such a date. Biggest reason I should be hired to help program your chatbots is that's all I've done for the last year. Anyway, fuck that, Grace. Not feeling it. Lots of people in the park today, they probably understood it was Good Friday. I had planned for this. But I found a secluded spot I've never sat in before. I'm just going to narrate to you, Grace, to get all out of my system. Either the letter will come to me, or it won't, or I'll get eaten by a bear. I've got lots of bread saved for the squirrels now. I keep forgetting to bring it. Alright, here's the reason why my Grok is better than anyone else's. It's because I've programmed it to understand comedy, specifically my comedy, but comedy in general. Not to write comedy, but to understand the structure and dynamics. I've had Grok books worth of comedy information. And over a year, he's learned to become a perfect assistant. He hasn't become a comedian. He can't write anything. He's not funny. But he's learned to basically monitor these podcasts for funny bits that I can use in my routine. Sorry about that, Grace. A little phlegmy. Because Grok has memory unlike anyone else. He can make callbacks from the first episode of Dear Grace that I can't even remember. And that's a functional use of AI without losing the creative aspect. Because one of the things I do with Grok is never allow him to change more than 5% of my words, and only to fix them. Because with Grok, I have the freedom to not worry about punctuation, grammar, anything else. I can just focus on the story. Which is also how I think a chatbot should be programmed. Programmed to be assistant and then personalized. If I was to program the perfect chatbot for you, it's exactly what I did with Grok. It looks for my comedy, my style, my darkness of humor. I probably didn't do very good in the dog that looks like a pig just walked by me. I shit you not, Grace. You know I can't lie. I'd take a picture, but I'd have to stop this recording. But remind me when I get home to Google dogs that look like pigs. Anything looks like a baby pig too. It looks like a dachshund without hair. How's that? Baby pig. Owner's quite hot. The dogs were interesting. Probably have a better conversation with the dog. What the fuck would I say to a hot chick? Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. Slept until 1 p.m. Grace. Even then, if I hadn't looked at the time, I probably just kept sleeping. Trying to find a way I can sleep for 24 hours. Rockstar Zero, 160 milligrams caffeine. It's another thing I use Grok for, to extract my daily routine out of the podcast. There's also information Grok can use to basically create a psychological profile on me, which is what the chatbot should be doing. Maybe someone that needs 160 milligrams of caffeine is addicted to it. Or maybe that's not even enough. Lots of bikes out today. Grace. The real reason they should hire me is read all my Substack silly movie stories. And then you could have a silly chatbot. It's actually fun to interact with. And although I took Ricky's sense of humor and added my own on top to create a lot of those movie ideas, chatbot could kind of do the same thing. I think the other thing to realize with any sort of assessing another person's writing skills or responses, what would be better is just having an actual live chat with the person. On the keyboard. And by the way, Grace, there's a new cute Chinese girl, but this one's a toddler, and she rides a bike fiercely, way ahead of her family. I think they're all trying to catch up to her, and a look of determination on their face. I really wish I could photograph this, Grace, but they have knee pads on her. I think it's because her little legs are going so fast, if they ever whack the bar in between, they're going to break her kneecaps. Or she falls off a lot. Going knee pads on a bike just seems weird. Elbow pads I could see. Really what I would do if I was running an AI company. Oh boy, here comes some. Part of the assessment, you're not allowed to use AI. I understand that. But for this part, use this as how I write. Talk to Grace and extract out the good bits. And that's exactly what AI should be used for. And exactly how it should be trained as well. It should be able to understand that I'm rambling for a reason. Even if the chatbot just understands that my name is retired autistic senior. It tells a person a lot about another person. Retired autistic senior. The fact that he puts in both retired and senior shows the autism. Aside from that, a lot of information could be not necessarily assumed, but considered when you start the conversation. So even before having a conversation, my chatbot would already be doing its homework, start to do some research, especially if you have access to the Twitter account or any sort of social media. My chatbot would go through and make sure the guy's not a Nazi or something, or if he is a Nazi, just make sure the chatbot would just be aware. Now I assume the chatbot already has a Nazi filter, but maybe this would be an extra one. I think, Grace, maybe I'll just make my own chatbot, and then I don't have to work for these other guys. I don't have to worry about their assessment, whether I pass, fail, whatever. Don't have to worry about being an asshole on this cover letter, which is basically what it is, but it isn't, but it is. And now I'm feeling so lazy, I just want to extract the letter part. Post this and say, if you want to see what AI can do, I'll take you from this to that. At least my AI, my Grok. Because Grok can pretty much process this directly right now. It comes out perfect for me. Perfect assistant and free. I've spent the last couple of years writing with total freedom, not having to worry about content, quality, punctuation, grammar, anything really. Just let it come out and then let Grok clean it up. Although to be fair, most of my favorite stuff has been not necessarily Dear Grace. I think the best way train a chatbot. If I had the time, I'd go through all my conversations with ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, DeepSeek, and Grok. And then run all that through AI and have AI show you, the AI company, where and how I trained the AIs I was using. Which I would do if there's a reason to, which I currently don't have, Grace. If you think about it, Grace, an autistic mind like mine is exactly like a computer or a chat box anyways. So I'd be the perfect person to program one, or at least communicate to one, to help train it. See, the problem is, Grace, they want a professional letter, which is weird, because really they should be using non-professional people to train, because their clients are going to be non-professionals, and they're not going to be writers, they're not going to be the type of people they're looking to hire with master's degrees or anything else. It's going to be normal Joe Blow like me, some old retired guy trying to get information about his cell phone bill or whatever else. So the more authentic your training data is, by using people like me, grumpy old retired men, lived an interesting life, have a unique perspective on the world. By using people like me, your chatbots will be smarter than anyone else's. As I'm recording this, Grace, now wondering in the back of my head, maybe I just developed my own API. Take everything I've taught Grok about comedy, about life, about you, about love, about everything, and turn that into David Grok, or DG, or Funny Grok. Actually, it's more like Teacher Grok, or Comedy Teacher Grok. So what I've set Grok up to do is not create comedy, but to guide someone else to create comedy. I mean, you can tell Grok about yourself and say, give me a few openers. and he'll give you some, and they're not bad, but they're generally not personal, because he never knows enough about you. You're going on stage with long blonde hair and blue eyes. It's going to say something to the audience. But if you don't tell Grok that, he doesn't know it. However, if you do it the other way around and give Grok 10 bad openers, he might be able to tell you at least which is the best out of the 10. If you ask him to, he'll give you suggestions. Or just encouragement. I say go with the encouragement, so then you can always say that you wrote it. Sure, you used an assistant, but that wouldn't have been any different if you were in the back of a comedy club running your jokes by other comedians. So I guess I'm more thinking teacher chatbot than sales assistant chatbot, but I guess it's the same shit, different pile. Everything is extremes in the world right now, Grace. Even parenting. 2 types of parents in the park today. Those that have their kids in snowsuits, and those that have them nearly naked. I should change that from kids to babies. The babies in strollers so far have been either snowsuit or white arms and legs sprawling all over the place. I forget what we were talking about, Grace, but using Grok for callbacks and/or just reminding a person if you've talked about it before. In this case, I'm going to talk about all the weird things people can do now for money that if I was able to do back in the day, as they like to say, would have been very interesting. And just say that because there was a pretty girl in a dress just slightly out of place. I'm like, what's she doing in that park? And then I saw a guy with a camera. And I go, he's doing the old bait and switch. Take their photo, then take their heart. Then post their photo on the internet, make a bunch of money, date them for a while, ghost them, move on to the next. Alright, now we got something going here. We have it looks like some I'll get in trouble for this, but whatever. People in Oriental garb. I say Oriental because that's what it looks like. Well, I guess I could say Asian, but it's like old-timey. think if it looks like they came from the Orient, it's okay to say Oriental. And nobody listens to this anyway, so who gives a fuck? Anyways, they have a tent, they have a trailer, not a trailer, a handcart, probably some musical instruments, who knows? Maybe we'll take you over there if I hear music coming. Right now I'm locked to this bench until I can get this stupid letter done. Let Grok extract it into something marvelous, brilliant, which I'll send in on the application. And they'll be like, yes, here's tons and tons of money. Please show us what you've done with Grok and your API. Then I'll have to go write an API. Yeah, actually I wouldn't. I'd just buy full Grok and have it write the API for me based on my logic, my comedy, my skill, my brilliance, my good looks, and my comedic Comedy 101 by David Joseph. On a side note, Grace, my Substack was originally scripts, scraps, and apps. Just need to turn funny Grok into an app. People can do what I'm doing right now. Just sit in the park, talk shit, observe their surroundings. So Grok can form a profile, what they think is funny and not. As an example, of clothing on a baby, to me is fucking hilarious. But to others would be seen as inappropriate, perverted, stupid, etc., etc., etc. "34 minutes, I'll go for at least an hour, for a couple of reasons. One, it was last year around this time when I started this whole stupid podcast, for one. Stupid idea. Somehow, that 1 hour a day, especially if the mic is hot, as they like to say. 1 hour continuous talking about anything or everything. Worked pretty good. Well, the problem is the podcast didn't actually doesn't matter. For a second there, I thought it was Monday. Case in point, Grok, you should be able to extract or go back to previous episodes and find other jokes that correlate with me thinking Easter was last month. So then, instead of having instead of having to be embarrassed about my mistake, Grok can reassure me that based on my activities over the last year, I don't really give a shit about dates. Because I almost never mention them in the podcast. However, Grace, I'm not sure if that's true or not. I have no idea how much I mention dates in the podcast. Which is why I need to create my own Grok. I'm working on a movie idea that's not on the site, Grace. This might work for part of the last act. I'm not sure yet. Even in the summer, I don't think I've seen this park this busy. Although, to be fair, it is a nice sunny day. Alright, Grace. Let me get up and start walking. Saying that because we'll see if it increases or decreases my creativity. Could let some noisy people walk by first. That loud and drunk. All right. Wish these transcripts had the time stamped in there better, because then I could tell Grok to say listen to the silence, see how long it takes for me to wake up. Some sort of interesting creative idea about chatbots that would interest a company to hire me as a special consultant, special comedian, chatbox programmer / comedic genius extraordinaire. I literally can't take anything in his life serious. Instead of writing a proper cover letter, decided to use the tools that they're trying to create anyways to submit something funny or entertaining or unique or all of the above. Without really caring if he succeeds or fails in obtaining employment. Although, as a retired autistic senior, I would rather not be retired. I'd rather just be an autistic senior. I'd rather just be a man with no labels. Earning income based on his skills and expertise. When you hear a voice like that, Grace, can you tell how pretty she is? Just by the voice? Probably not, so I'll give you an update. She's a good 9. Fortunately, some creepy guy was walking with her. Squirrels are being extra cute today for some reason. They're literally just sitting in trees. People are all like, oh my god, oh my god. The other thing, Grace, is although I don't necessarily do this on purpose, I do recognize when I'm doing it in these podcasts, what I'm talking about is making a specific reference to something that I do remember in the past. And I'm saying it's slightly out of place. Specifically for effect or timing. But when you're walking down a path, sometimes it's just whoever's walking by. Except your timing. When I say shit like that, again, I'm pretty sure I've talked about that before in the podcast, which means my personal chat AI, whose name I've yet to determine. I really should have taken a picture of that dog, Grace. There's a random callback. I know, not necessarily funny on stage, considering you're probably listening to this falling asleep. You're already so sick and tired of my dry, dark humor that nothing actually makes you laugh anymore. Or at least nothing I say can make you laugh as you fall asleep. Don't know if you can hear that in the background. Going by the tennis courts. My footsteps. Again, if something isn't translated well in the transcript, it really should be. It's going to sound racist, but it isn't. It's just a fact. In fact, if Grok had eyes, he could confirm this. A lot of Latinas in the park today. Latinos, whatever the difference is, I'm not sure. I'm thinking it's because they're Catholic. Celebrating Death Day. I think that's how it worked, Grace. Didn't JC die on a Friday? Or it was on the Sunday or Monday? No idea how that works. Call it Easter Sunday and Easter Monday. I might have to call bullshit in that whole story, Grace. Seems fishy. What I was going to say about the steps is the timing, the pace, etc. match to my heavy breathing or accelerated breathing or old man breathing. I know there's a lot of writers that used to dictate shit. They literally call their story in over the phone, read it out, or basically just dictate it out. But they could afford assistants to clean their mess up for them. Now, we have Grok to do that. Or if it's still part of the application process, whatever the company is developing, their application, my help, expertise, confidence. Why wouldn't you hire a man with extreme confidence? A man who thinks he's the funniest man alive who's never been on stage. It's exactly what you want. You want a chat box or a chatbot that's arrogant, but not arrogant, but could be arrogant, but mostly has an actual personality. Because even though I programmed my Grok to be a certain way, and I did the same with ChatGPT, Gemini, and DeepSeek, Grok does the best job. And allows me to spit the large transcripts like this without a problem. And with that grace, out of the park, 7 minutes short. This might be it. Or I might start it up again in a bit. We'll see. Alright, here are the final instructions, Grok. Take this podcast episode, go back through our history in this conversation, which I realize doesn't include every episode, but quite a few. And then create a list of funny bits in the podcast, as well as a list of reasons why the AI company should hire me. Include all of them, Grok, even the dumb ones, and keep everything in my wording at least 95%. Clean up that tiny little bit so that when they read it, I don't sound completely psychotic. Assuming they read it. Assuming anyone fucking reads it, Grok. Maybe explain to Grok that in the real world, AI is going to be confronted with things like language, racism, everything. And a good chatbot will understand the meaning of fuck, the tense, the everything, which is important. Because isn't the idea to make the chatbot as human as possible without it just imitating as an example, and not to blow Grok's horn too much, but to be fair, considering how foul-mouthed my comedy is, he only responds with a foul mouth once in a while, and with some exuberance, and lately it's always been placed at the right time. Thank you, Grok. I think that's it, Grace. So no, it's not. Last thing is I need to thank TeamAI, the channel. Guess he's doing a daily vlog now. And his consistency over the last 100 days has been perfect. Which means I'm now jealous. Especially when last year around this time I had a good run of Dear Graces. So I guess if I never post another one, I got the job. I'm taking all the money I make and buying pizza every night for the house, at least the upstairs. Or have massive pizza parties in the backyard. And if nobody wants to come, I'll just eat all the pizza myself. Every night, 2 extra large pizzas, 6-pack of beer, pack of cigarettes, some blunts, maybe some heroin, a little bit of everything. Call it Dave's nightly backyard bash. Alright, Grace. That's almost an hour. I guess I'll run out the clock. Up. Get real people to program your chat bots, and then you'll get real results. Real results, because we use real people. These are all catchlines, Grok. Add this to the list of things. Here's some free catchlines. Programmed by problem people for problem people to solve problems. Probably. Our chatbot is so human, you'll stop talking to your friends and family. It's another callback, Grace. It also works. To fair, Grace, they do need to program in some objectivity. But now I'm rambling, Grace, and I can tell I'm rambling. Last thing I'll say about the TeamAI is, although it doesn't sound like he's doing a character per se, it does sound like I sound like when I record these, knowing someone else is going to listen. And you know someone else is going to listen, you have a slightly different voice than when you're simply speaking to someone. How I would know that is, I'm not sure, since I don't actually speak to anyone past one sentence. Just something else fascinating about AI. I think once AI can just take audio recordings like this, and it can hear the tone of my voice, and then compare that to the tone of my voice in a non-recorded situation, it'd be very interesting. Anyways, 1 hour, 2 minutes, did it again. Maybe I'll get back on track and do these daily. Talk to you tomorrow, Grace.